as well as isomers. Right. Why we are naming this as coordination complex or complex compounds? Sneha, why we are naming them as coordination complex or complex compounds? Before we can see that in a coordination complexes, we can see the bond between metal and a ligand. Metal and a ligand means there is a coordinate covalent bond. Coordinate covalent bond between metal and a ligand. Between metal and a ligand, we can see the coordinate covalent bond. But here we can say that uh, coordination entity. What is this coordination entity? If you take NiCO taken 4 times, this is what is the name of this particular compound? Anyone? What is the name of this one?
Tetracarbonyl nickel.
Tetracarbonyl.
Nickel, sir.
Very good. Tetracarbonyl nickel we can take. Here in this tetracarbonyl nickel, which is central metal atom? The nickel will be the central metal atom and the CO will be acting as ligand. Right. What is the oxidation state of nickel here? What is the oxidation state of nickel in NiCO taken 4 times? What is the oxidation state we can take here? We can take 0 oxidation state because the CO is the neutral ligand. For neutral ligand, the oxidation number is 0. X plus 4 into 0 is equal to 0. X is equal to 0 only we can take directly. Understood? Means here we can say that the coordination entity, this particular one we call it as coordination entity. We can call this one the central metal atom. This one will be the ligand. Ligands are how many types actually? How many types of ligands we can see? Right. Metal and ligand. Means metal will be acting as electrophile, I can say, yeah, as per organic chemistry. Metal will be acting as electrophile and ligand will be acting as nucleophile. Ligand will be acting as nucleophile. This nucleophile only what we can call Lewis basis. Nucleophile we can call it as Lewis basis. Here the electrophiles will be considered as Lewis acids. Lewis acids. The bond between Lewis acid and Lewis base will be what? A coordinate covalent bond. Coordinate covalent bond we can see. Okay. Now here, if you see the types of ligands means how many types of ligands are there?
3 types.
Unidentate ligands. Very good.
Didentate ligand.
Very good. Unidentate
Polydentate.
ligands. Very, very good. Unidentate ligands, bidentate ligands, and polydentate ligands. Polydentate ligands. Unidentate ligands example is what? The unidentate ligands example is we can take Cl minus where one donor, then H2O. Even an oxygen 2 lone pairs are available. We are focusing on only one lone pair. It is unidentate. Then if you take ammonia, this also an example of unidentate ligand. Unidentate ligand. What about bidentate ligand? Any example for this? Bidentate or didentate ligands. What example we can take? I'll be taking CH2 bond CH2 bond NH2, then bond NH2 we can take. What is the name of this compound? What is the name of this compound? Tell me, Sneha, what is the name of this compound?
1,2 diamine ethane.
Ethane 1,2 diamine. The IUPAC name of this particular compound is ethane 1,2 diamine. We can take here a nitrogen. We can see the lone pairs. Here also we can see lone pairs. It is an example of a bidentate ligand. Bidentate ligand. And I'm going to take another one, that is C2O4 2 minus. What is this? This is nothing but oxalate ion. The C2O4 2 minus is nothing but a oxalate ion. An oxalate ion, it is also an example of a bidentate ligand. This we can take like this: C double bond O, C double bond O, O minus, then O minus. We can take like this. Here, this oxygen and this oxygen will be the donor atoms, where we can see a coordinate covalent bond from this oxygen to metal and this oxygen to metal. This is central metal atom, where we can see a donation of two oxygen atoms, that is didentate ligands. That is didentate ligands we can call. Then there are some examples where we can see the donor capacity there from both the atoms in the given molecule. That is, we can call it as a ambidentate ligand. Ambidentate ligand. This ambidentate ligand we can write here. Nitrogen is attacking here. This one we can call it as nitrito N. When N is forming a coordinate covalent bond, that is nitrito N. Suppose if M, this is attached oxygen, nitrogen, double bond oxygen. If O is attached to form a coordinate covalent bond, that is nitrito O we can call. This one we can call it as ambidentate ligands. What we call? Ambidentate ligands we can call. Ambidentate ligands. Not only this, we can also consider Cn minus, that is cyanide, and SCN minus, that is thiocyanate. See, this NO2 also we can write it as NO2 minus. This one here in the coordination compounds, we call them it as ambidentate ligands. NO2 minus, CN minus, SCN minus, all the places we can call them it as ambidentate ligands. Same molecules or same ions if you use in haloalkanes and haloarenes, we can call it as Sneha. Suppose same compounds if you take in that, what we can call it as ambidentate nucleophiles we can call. Ambidentates nucleophiles we can call. In addition to this, if there is more than two donor atoms, that one we call it as a polydentate ligand. Polydentate ligand. In polydentate ligand, we can consider like a EDTA is the best example. What is the full form of EDTA? Ethylene diamine tetraacetate, which is going to show a 6 donor atoms that I'm going to show you now. That is CH2, COO minus, then CH2, COO minus, then I can take a CH2, bond N, CH2, COO minus, and CH2, COO minus, like this. Means here one donor atom, here second donor atom, third donor atom, fourth donor atom, and on nitrogen we can have two lone pairs, like one lone pair here. Means here one, and here one, and here one, here one, here one, here one. All together it is going to combine with a particular metal. Particular metal. 6 donor atoms are there. That is why it is an example of a polydentate ligand. Polydentate ligand. Now we can see the coordination number. What is the coordination number? Suppose if you take FeCO5. What is the coordination number of iron? We can say the number of ligands attached to a given metal atom is called its coordination number. In case of FeCO5, the coordination number is 5 we can take. And if you take K3FeCN6 like this, if you take here the coordination number, here also coordination number 6. Coordination number 6 we can call. Now, what about this? What we call this one? The one which is there outside the brackets, it is ionizable ions, or we can call it as ionization sphere. We can call this as ionization sphere, right? This ionization sphere means the one which is there, it is going to ionize. The ionized ions we can call this one, we can also call it as counter ions. This one we can call it as counter ions. The one which is there inside, that is this complete setup, we call it as a coordination sphere. Coordination sphere or coordination entity we can call. Coordination sphere or coordination entity we can call. Right. Generally, I have a doubt. What is the difference between double salt and uh, coordination compounds? Double salt, any example is there? Double salt, we can take KCl, EMgCl2
Marsh
dot
salt,
six
sir.
H2O, right? We can take
Marsh
like
salt.
this. Okay, more salt, many things we can take. Here, this double salts, when it dissolve in the water, it is going to disperse it as ions, right? Thereby, it is going to lose its identity. Whereas, if you see this, which one? Coordination compounds, even if you put it in the solutions, it is not going to lose its identity. It is not going to lose its identity, even if you take complex like this, or even you can use in the solution form also, it is not going to lose its identity. But in our syllabus, we are going to focus on coordination number 4, 5 and 6. Coordination number 4 means generally we can expect tetrahedral complexes as well as square planar complexes. Coordination number 4 means tetrahedral complexes as well as square planar complexes. Coordination number 5 means we can see that trigonal bipyramidal complexes. Trigonal bipyramidal complexes. Whereas coordination number 6, if you take that time we can expect octahedral complexes. Octahedral complexes we can take. Okay. Now we can go with the nomenclature of coordination compounds. Nomenclature of coordination compounds. Straight away I'll take that coordination compounds directly. We can name them by considering 3 different examples. As already we took NiCO4. What is the name of this NiCO4? As you said, tetracarbonyl. Tetracarbonyl. Nickel we can call. Nickel in brackets I'll be writing 0, because all metal carbonyls, the oxidation number is 0 only. Now, the second compound we can take like this, that is K3FeCN6. K3FeCN6. What is the name of this particular one? Name this. Name this and tell me. Any idea is there regarding this K3FeCN6? Idea is there or not there?
Hexacyano.
Hexacyano. See properly and talk and give the correct
Potassium hexacyano.
potassium.
Hexacyano.
Potassium cyanide.
That only wrong. You people are committing mistakes for this type of complexes only. Syed Bhai is trying to connect for the classes, but somehow network is not allowing. Right, K3FeCN6. This I can write like FeCN6 3 minus I can write a FeCN6 3 minus I can write right FeCN6 taken thrice I can write like this or not, tell me first.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now here we can tell that here we can say that this is a anionic complex. This one is what? This is a neutral complex, and this one, even if you take this or this one, this is an example of anionic complex. This is an example of anionic complex. Here I can say that potassium, we can write like potassium hexacyanido, hexacyanido ferrate. I can write in bracket, I am writing 3. That
3.
is oxidation number 3. When anionic complexes are there, when anionic complexes are there, that time what we can say, we are going to end with 8, that is ferrate, potassium hexacyanido. Cyan is cyano. In some books they are giving cyano, in some books they are giving cyanido, but as per NCERT book we are going with cyanido. That is why I am writing also hexacyanido ferrate 3, because x minus 6 is equal to minus 3, x is equal to minus 3 plus 6, which is equal to plus 3, which is equal to plus 3 I can take. Okay, va? Now, even if you take CuNH3 taken for 2 plus, what is the name of this compound? We can write like this, that is tetraamine. NH3 is ammonia. For writing this in the coordination compounds, this we call it as amine. That is there 4 times, that is tetraamine copper 2 I can take. Tetraamine copper 2 I can take. Okay, means clearly I am telling here, when we take these cationic complexes or when we take the neutral complexes, just we are going to write the name of the metal. Just we are going to write the name of the metal, right? But when we write anionic complexes, that time we are telling that it will be like we can say that it is ending with 8. Understood this one? Not only here, anywhere when we go with this particular one, finally we can see that the cationic complexes as well as neutral complexes, it is ending with the name of the metal. Whereas if you take anionic complexes, we are taking with the ends with 8. Suppose if cobalt is there means cobalt 8, iron is there means ferrate, if nickel is there means nickelate, like that. Okay, now I'll be taking one more example for a good clarity of this particular one. That is, I can take a CO H2O taken 6, 3 plus I can take. What is the name of this one? CO H2O taken 6, 3 plus hexa
Hexa,
Aqua.
aqua,
aqua, right? Very good. For water
Cobalt
I am
3.
writing hexa
Cobalt
aqua cobalt
cobalt,
3 we are writing,
3.
right? Now, do you remember one complex while studying our qualitative and quantitative analysis of organic compounds first year? Qualitative as well as quantitative analysis of organic compounds idea is there? Qualitative analysis, Persian blue indicates the presence of what? Uma, the formation of Persian blue complex indicates the presence of what? Presence of what we can call? What complex is going to form? Anybody? Anybody in this group? Right, I can write Fe4 FeCN6 taken thrice. What is the name of this particular one? Fe4 FeCN6. The name of this one is what, Ra? Anybody, Ra? This also first year qualitative analysis, they are connecting with second year coordination compounds. You cannot say that this is not there when I was studying coordination compounds like that. We cannot say like
I-
that. Ah,
Iron 3
very good.
hexacyanidopherrate 2.
Very good. Iron
3
3
hexacyanidopherrate 2.
hexacyanidopherrate 2. This we studied, Nora. Hexacyanidopherrate 2 we can take. See, actually this one, how we are writing, you know, this one Fe3 plus Ra. Then this one we can write FeCN6 4 minus Ra. Everyone, do you know crisscross method in the lower classes?
Yes, sir.
Crisscross method idea is there, no? Sayed Bhai? Crisscross method, what we are doing, just we are bringing that particular one here and this particular one here, that is Fe4 will be like this, 3 will be like this. This we can write like Fe4 FeCN6 taken thrice. This only we are taking. This only we are taking. Okay, va? This is the only complex we'll be writing like this only. That is the reason I considered here. Now, this nomenclature over. After knowing nomenclature, what we are supposed to do? Ethane 1, 2 diamine, how we are going to represent? Ethane 1, 2 diamine, how we are going to represent? That we can write like En. This represents ethane 1, 2 diamine, I can write. And OX represents what? Oxalate.
Oxalate.
Oxalato. This oxalate ion is what? C2O4 2 minus we can take. C2O4 2 minus we can take. Okay. This is regarding this particular nomenclature. But only the thing, once if you know the nomenclature, automatically we can concentrate on other parts of this particular lesson. That is why I'm going with isomerism. Isomerism means what type of isomerism we can see? We can see both structural isomerism as well as stereoisomerism.
Stereoisomerism.
In structural isomerism, how many types are there? What types are available? The first one is 4 types. The first one I can write it as linkage isomerism. This linkage isomerism is shown by what type of ligands? The ambidentate ligands. The ambidentate ligands going to show this linkage isomerism. Ambidentate ligands going to show linkage isomerism. The best examples of ambidentate ligands are, we can take SCN, and this we can write NCS also. You can take CN and you can write NC also. You can write N2O, and this we can also write like ONO, like this. Means whenever if you see these ligands in the complexes, that will undergo what type of isomerism? Linkage isomerism. Linkage isomerism. The second one we call it as the coordination isomerism. The second isomerism we call it as the coordination isomerism. In coordination isomerism, we can see there is a exchange of ligands between two coordination entities. There is a exchange of ligands between two coordination entities. Here I am taking CONH3 taken 6, and I can take CN6 like this. CN6 like this. Here, whatever the CN ligands are there, it is going to shift here. Whatever the ammonia ligands are there, it will be coming here. That is why we are writing CO CN6, this is one complex compound, and Cr NH3 taken 6 times like this, we can take. It means what? There is an exchange of ligand between two different coordination entity. That time we can expect a coordination isomerism. That time we can expect a coordination isomerism. Then the next one is ionization isomerism. Ionization isomerism. In ionization isomerism, there is some what to say here. In ionization isomerism, what we can see here all entered, right? Here we can see that in case of ionization isomerism, there is a exchange of ions from ionization spheres to coordination entity, from coordination spheres to ionization entity. Ionization entity. Suppose if I take CO NH3, CO NH3 taken 5 times SO4, then I'll be writing this one as BR. Then in other case I'll be writing like CO NH3 taken 5 BR and SO4 we can take. Means here we can see this BR is there in the ionization sphere. Ionization sphere. This we can also call it as a counter ions. This we can also call it as counter ions. But here what happens? SO4 will be in the ionization sphere. SO4 will be ionization sphere, whereas Br will be there in the coordination entity. Coordination entity we can call. Right. Now, apart from this, we can see one more variety, that is ionization isomerism only, but we studied that under solvate isomerism or hydrate isomerism. Both will give the same meaning. Either if you take solvate isomerism or if you consider hydrate isomerism, both will give the same meaning. That is solvate isomerism as well as hydrate isomerism, where there is an exchange of water molecules from coordination entity to ionization sphere, or from ionization sphere to coordination entity we can consider. That is we can take like we can take like a best example, that is Cr H2O taken 6 Cl3 we can take which is violet color, which is violet color. And we can see one more, that is Cr H2O taken 5 times, 1 Cl will be inside and 2 Cls will be outside dot H2O, which is going to show a gray green color, which is going to show a gray green color we can consider here. Okay, it means what we can say here? Here we can consider all 6 water molecules are there in the coordination entity, but one will be there in the ionization sphere. These two are examples of solvate or hydrate isomerism. Solvate or hydrate isomerism. Now let us go with what type of complexes? Geometric optical isomers and geometrical isomers. Optical isomers as well as geometrical isomers, which are come under stereoisomers, which are come under stereoisomers. Any idea is there are stereoisomers? Right. Now, stereoisomers, when we see, we can see two types. One is geometrical isomerism, which is also known as
Cis trans isomerism.
right. Geometrical isomerism or geometrical isomers in organic, where we can see actually in organic chemistry, where we can see this geometrical isomerism. Anybody? By
No, sir.
कहाँ पढ़ाई किए है ऑर्गेनिक में ये? हाँ, tell me ra. Akshata, anywhere, any idea is there? Lekhana. Tell ra. Geometrical isomerism, where we can see.
Biomolecule.
No. Biomolecules, there is no isomers. There are anomers ange. Right. Now, geometrical isomerism, we can see in case of alkenes. Where we can see alkenes, we can see. Okay, leave it. Now, here this particular geometrical isomers, we can see in coordination number 4 and coordination number 6. Where we can see the coordination number 4 and coordination number 6. When coordination number is 4, we can see two types of complexes. One is square planar complexes. The other one is tetrahedral complexes. But in tetrahedral complexes, there is no geometrical isomerism because you cannot see the adjacent positions of the ligands. Let us take one particular example. I'll be taking like this: PT, NH3, NH3, then Cl, Cl like this, right? This is, we can call it as cisplatin. What is the name of this one? Cisplatin. And this I can write like chlorine. Chlorine will be their opposite side. NH3, NH3 will be their opposite side. This one we can call it as transplatin. Very good. Transplatin. See, when NH3s are there adjacent, we can call cis. When Cls also adjacent, we can call cis. When NH3s are opposite, we can call trans. When Cls also opposite, we can call trans only. But here what I am doing is, here I am doing only one thing. What I am doing here? What I am doing here? Just I am writing in the square planar complex. Suppose if the same thing, if you write like tetrahedral, that is PT, maybe take Cl, Cl, NH3, NH3 like this. NH3, NH3 like this. If you take like this, can you show the cis-trans isomerism here? No, that is the reason
No,
tetrahedral
sir.
complexes, even the coordination number is 4, there is no geometrical isomers. Then we can see in the square planar complexes only. Square planar complexes only. Even if you see this NH3 as well as Cl, they are all examples of unidentate ligands. They are all examples of unidentate ligands. There only we can see this particular one. We can see this particular one. That is the reason this we can represent like MX2L2. Means in coordination number 4, we can take MX2L2. There we can see this particular one. Then the next one, we can take it as MABXL, or we can consider this as MABCD. MABCD. All ABCD are nothing but unidentate ligands. ABCD are nothing but unidentate ligands we can take. Here it is going to show 2 cis and 1 trans vacancy. 2 cis and 1 trans vacancy. Let us see this 2 cis and 1 trans. One trans we can take. Here I am going to take the complexes, that is M, A, B. Then we can take CD. This is one isomer. Then I am going to take another isomer, that is M, A, B. CD we can take. Then another one we can take like M, A, B, then CD we can take like this. CD we can take like this. Then another one we can take M, A, B, CD like this. A, B, CD like this. See, here you can see that these two I'll be considering as cis. Here the arrangement you see first. A, B, CD like this I took. Second one A, B, CD like this. Third one A, B, CD like this. Fourth one A, B, CD like this. These two will be considering as cis isomers. Will be considering as cis isomers. But I said only one trans, not two trans. I said only one trans. Right. Here, if you look at this, A to D is given here in between central mental atom. Here also A to D. These two are appearing like one only. AD like this. That possibility is not there in these two cases. That is the reason here I consider these two will be appearing as single one. That is the reason I am going to consider only one transform. Only one transform. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Right. AD commonly there. That is why altogether I am considering as only one. This is regarding coordination number 4, where we can see a geometrical isomers. Now, we can also see in some other cases, that is MX2L4, where coordination number 4, where coordination number 6. This X and L also unidentate ligands. Unidentate ligands. This one I can write like this: CO, Cl, Cl, NH3, 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 then NH3. We can take like this. We can take like this. Here two chlorine atoms are there on the adjacent positions. Then we call this as a cis isomer. We call this as cis isomer. In the other complex, we can call it as CO, Cl, Cl. We can take like NH3, 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 NH3 like this. What type of complex is this? A octahedral complex. Here the Cl will be there in the opposite position. Then it is trans isomer. Then it is a trans isomer. Not only this, we can also see this particular one in MX2 LL taken twice. This is a didentate ligand. Didentate ligand. The best example for this is CO, Cl, Cl. Then I'll be writing En like this. This En like this. Then we can write another En. It will be like this. What isomer is do? Cis. Then trans, if you'd like to write, you can write Cl, Cl. Then you can write like this. Right. Why I am taking this? What is En stands for? En stands for ethane 1,2 diamine. Ethane 1,2 diamine. Right. This also we can see the geometrical isomers. Right. Then one more we can take that is MA3B3 type also. We can see this geometrical isomers. For that I am going to take CO, then NH3, NH3, then we can take NH3 like this. Then we take NO2, NO2, then finally NO2. It is going to show the facial isomers, means three NH3s are going to show one face, three NO2s are going to show another face. That is why it is called as facial isomer as well as FAC isomer we can call. Face isomer we can call. This also a type of cis isomer. Suppose if it is going to occupy a triangle shape, that is NH3 here, NO2 here, then NO2 here, and this one also NO2. Then here we can take NH3, and here also it is going to take NH3. Means it is showing like a triangle like this. By considering only these three, that one we called as meridian position. Meridian position, that type of isomer we call it as meridian isomer or Mar isomer we can call. Mar isomer we can call. Right. Now, apart from this, we have only one isomer. What is that? Optical isomers. Optical isomers. Optical isomers means what? There are mirror images, but not superimposable mirror images. Nothing but enantiomers. Nothing but enantiomers. Enantiomers are nothing but they are mirror images to each other, but non-superimposable mirror images. They are known as enantiomers. The best example we can take like CO. I'll be taking like this. See, whatever the diagrams we are drawing here, it is a 2D diagram. It is a 2D diagram, but generally we take a 3D representation like this. 3D representation we see. Just this is, I'm going to take a molecule. Its mirror image will be like this. Its mirror image will be like this. We can consider like En. This will be like this. Then here also we can take like this. We can take En. Like this we can take, and this one will be like this. Means we cannot place it one above the other. One above the other. This is dextroform and this is levoform. These are nothing but enantiomers. Enantiomers we can call. But even in this cis dextro and levo, right, in that we can see cis isomers also. If you take PTCl2, En taken twice, 2 plus we can take. 2 plus we can take. Here we can see optical isomers as well as cis trans isomers. Optical isomers as well as cis trans isomers, because this Cl2, if it is present on the adjacent side, that is cis isomer, opposite side that is trans isomer. But out of cis and trans, only the cis form is going to show a optical activity, whereas in trans isomer there is no optical activity. In trans isomer there is no optical activity. Okay, is it clear to everyone regarding this?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now come to the first approach regarding this coordination entities, that is Werner's theory of coordination compounds. Werner's theory of coordination compounds. What is this Werner's theory of coordination compounds actually? What is the use of this Werner's theory of coordination compounds? It is telling mainly about primary valency, and the second one is secondary valency. The second one is secondary valency. This primary valency refers oxidation state. Oxidation state. The secondary valency represents coordination number. This primary valency we can also call as ionizable sphere or ionization sphere we can call. Right. Suppose if I take CONH3 taken 6 like this, I'll be taking Cl3 like this. Here, this particular complex I am taking like this. Right, what is the name of this compound? Hexaamine cobalt 3 chloride. Correct? Hexaamine cobalt 3 chloride. Like this only we can write, no? Is it clear to everyone what I'm speaking?
Yes, sir.
Sneha,
Yes, sir.
right. Tell somebody is telling, sir. Right. CONH3 taken 6Cl3 we can take here. Right. Now, here what I am telling is the primary valency can be represented by using dotted lines, whereas the secondary valency is represented by using thick lines. For this, I am writing a coordination entity that will be like this. Like this means how many NH3s I can write? I can write here one H3, here one NH3, and here one NH3, and here one NH3, and here one NH3, and here also one NH3 we can take, and this one I am representing chlorine, and this one also I am representing chlorine, and this one I am representing one chlorine like this. Right. Here I would like to say one more thing here. When it is there outside, it is going to interact with the silver nitrate, which is going to react with the silver nitrate. Thereby it forms silver chloride as the precipitate. Thereby it is going to form silver chloride as the precipitate we can call. Means here how many Cls are there? 3 Cls are there. That is why I'm going to react with 3 AgNO3. It is giving 3 AgCl. 3 AgCl. Okay. Now I'll be taking one more example. That is another example. I'll be taking CONH3 taken thrice, Cl3 I can take. Right. What is the name of this one? Trichlorido triamine cobalt 3. Right. Trichlorido
Amine
amine
cobalt.
cobalt 3. Here for this, if you use this Werner's theory, that I can take like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. Here I'll be taking one NH3, then I go with Cl, then NH3, then Cl, then NH3, then Cl I can take. But this is referring not only to the coordination number, it is also considering in the oxidation state. Means here I am going to represent a dotted line like this. Here also I am going to represent a dotted line. Here also I am going to represent it a dotted line. This dotted line represents what actually? This dotted line represents showing primary valency.
Primary
This
valency.
thick line represents secondary valency. Means the dual behavior, the primary as well as secondary valency characters can be explained by using this Werner's theory of coordination compounds. Werner's theory of coordination compounds. Okay, got this one?
Yes,
Okay, right. Any doubts are there regarding this?
No.
Right. What no sir? Right, once again I'll explain. Somebody is marking that they did not understand. Once again I'll take this. That is CONH3 taken thrice, Cl3 like this I am taking. See here CO, I'll be taking octahedral complexes. For that what I am doing? Chlorine NH3, then chlorine NH3, then chlorine NH3. Werner's theory is telling about primary valency. Okay. Primary valency represents dotted lines, which gives an idea about oxidation state. Then the secondary valency tells about coordination number. Right. Now, 6 coordination numbers were over, but the Cls, wherever Cls are there, there we are calculating oxidation state. What is the oxidation state of this complex? CO is X plus ammonia is 0 plus chlorine 3 into minus 1 is equal to 0. Then X is equal to plus 3. Means
+3.
this Cl we are using for primary valency as well as secondary valency. This primary valency can be represented by using dotted lines like this. That is the reason whatever the dotted line as well as thick line I am showing, this dotted line shows oxidation state, this thick line shows oxidation sorry, coordination number. Understood this? That only I said. Nothing new here. It is very easy. But only the thing is, for one element we are writing both. Only the thick line as well as the dotted line we are taking. The thick line representing coordination number, whereas dotted line representing a oxidation state or oxidation and state of the given metal or given central metal we can call. Okay, till here it is okay. Now tell. Yes,
Sir, can you repeat, sir?
which one? This one only, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Right, Sneha only, yeah?
After oxidation state, sir. No, sir.
Your name ra, good name ra?
Purnima, sir.
Purnima. Purnima, you take this. Here I am taking, I'll take one more example. Why only all the times taking the same example?
Okay.
Now
Sir,
I'll be.
after oxidation number, we'll find, no, sir. After
Yes,
that, third point.
Right. Then you take this. Now here it is there inside the brackets, outside the brackets are CL.
Inside.
Then this should give contribution to what? Mainly to the coordination number.
Yes.
And now coordination number is how much here? 3 from this chlorine and 3 from this ammonia. Total coordination number is 6 I am writing. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, suppose if I want you to calculate the oxidation number, I'll be calculating like this X. Ammonia, sir, how many ra? 3. Generally, it is 0 only ra, neutral molecule. Plus, how many chlorine atoms are there? 3 will be there. Each chlorine charge is minus 1 is equal to 0. X is equal to
plus 3.
plus 3. Right. Means when we draw the structure, we'll be drawing like this. Correct? We'll be drawing like this means NH3, Cl, NH3, Cl, NH3, Cl. Now, you took ammonia only for coordination number because there is no involvement in the oxidation number because it is 0. Correct?
Yes, sir.
But if you take chlorines in all the cases, it is contributing both for coordination number as well as oxidation state or oxidation number of the given central metal atom. Correct? To calculate this, we are using this, no?
Yes, sir.
At the same time, we are using for coordination number also, no?
Yes, sir.
To show that according to Werner's theory, I am representing another line like this. This dotted line represents what? Primary valency. This thick line represents what? Coordination number. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now I can go ahead now. I can discuss next concept now.
Yes, sir. So
Right.
only one primary valency will write, sir.
Now here, how many involved here?
Yeah, involved, sir.
Then you can take another second one here. The third one here.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Suppose, wait. Suppose I'll be taking CONH3 taken 4, Cl2, 1 Cl will be outside like this. 1 Cl will be there like this. Now here also what I can take? I can take 6 like this. Now, which is there outside, it is contributing only for oxidation
Primary
number.
valency.
Right, very good. That is why I am writing only 1 chlorine. It is like this. The remaining 2 chlorines I can write both primary valency as well as secondary valency. The remaining 4 NH3s I will be writing like this. Right?
Yes, sir.
Now you got it, Purnima?
Yes, sir.
Right, very good. Now come to the next one. That is EAN. What is this EAN actually? Any idea to anyone regarding this EAN?
Ethylene diamine, sir.
No. That is over already. This EAN is nothing but effective atomic number. which was given by Sidgwick, which was given by Sidgwick. Now, I'll be taking some complexes. First complex is FeCN 6 or 4. I go with 6, which is 2 minus. What is the oxidation state of this particular iron here? How will you calculate the oxidation state here? Any idea regarding this? Anybody? Iron oxidation number is how
Plus
much?
3.
Plus 3, va? See
Yes, sir.
properly and talk.
Wait.
I'm not going anywhere. Even if the class extends little more time also, don't worry. Try to understand the concepts. That alone my request.
4. Plus 4, sir.
Very good. Plus 4 only, na? You are
Yes, sir.
confident of plus 4?
Yes, sir.
Right. You are confident that you are going to lose 4 electrons. FeCN6 2 minus. Here x minus 6 is equal to minus 2.
Minus 2.
X is equal to
2 minus 6.
plus 6 minus 2.
Minus, yes, sir.
X is equal to
plus 4.
plus 4. Iron in the plus 4 state means what we can take? Iron configuration 4s2 3d 6. 4s2 3d6. Correct? Atomic number 26. Atomic
Yes.
number 26.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Ah,
sir.
right. 26 minus how much? 4. How much it is coming?
22.
22 we are taking. 22, how many ligands are there here?
6 ligands.
Each ligand can contribute how many electrons? Each ligand can contribute how many electrons? 2 electrons. All of you remember this. Each ligand will contribute 1 pair of electrons. 1 pair of electrons. 1 pair of electrons are nothing but 2 electrons. 2 electrons. Now, here 22 we got. 22 we got. How many ligands are there? 6 ligands, which is going to contribute how many electrons? 12 electrons. Total how much? 34. Means it is not a noble gas configuration. It is not a noble gas configuration. If it is 36, what element we can take? Krypton. If it is 36, it is krypton. If it is 34, it is not a noble gas. It is not a noble gas. When it is not a noble gas, according to effective atomic number or according to EAN rule, the complex is not stable. Complex is not stable. Understood this one by? Right. I'll take one more example. With that, you people will get a clear idea. Okay, va?
Yes,
Getting
sir.
what I'm speaking.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, I'll be taking one example, that is NiCO4 by. NiCO4 nickel oxidation state is how much by? 0, because the CO will be the neutral ligand. The CO will be the neutral ligand, and the Ni atomic number is 28 only, na?
Yes, sir.
Straight away I'm writing 0 oxidation state, leave it. Then how many ligands are there? 4 ligands are available. 4 ligands means how many electrons?
8 electrons.
8 electrons. 28 plus 8, how much? 36.
36.
Which is which configuration? Krypton
Krypton
configuration.
configuration.
Means according to EAN rule, when it is going to achieve the noble gas number, atomic number, then the complex is stable. Then the complex is stable. If it is less than 36 and then it is not stable, then it is not a stable. Understood what I'm speaking?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Even you can take one more example. You can take one more example, that is Cu Cn taken 4 times. 3 minus you can take. 3 minus you can take. This is x minus 4 is equal to minus 3. X is equal to plus 1 only now.
Yes, sir.
Now here atomic number of copper is how much? 29,
20.
right? Minus its oxidation number is how much?
4.
1,
1.
1. No.
1. I'm subtracting whatever the oxidation states are coming here. 29 minus 1 plus how many ligands are there?
4 ligands.
4 ligands, then 8. Here also what we can say? 28 plus 8 is equal to 36. It means what? The complex is stable. The complex is stable.
Yes.
According to whom?
Yes.
According to EAN.
Effective atomic number.
EAN. What is this EAN?
Effective atomic number.
Effective atomic number.
Atomic
This
number.
effective atomic number, you can take one formula for our easy understanding. We can take one formula, that is EAN is equal to, the effective atomic number is equal to number of electrons in the metal ion. Number of electrons in the metal ion plus number of electrons gained from the ligand. Number of electrons gained from ligand. This is one formula. Or you can take like atomic number minus oxidation state plus 2 into coordination number. 2 into coordination number. Any one you can take, and if it is going to show a noble gas configuration, it is stable. If it is not, unstable. Okay. Right.
Yes, sir.
Any doubt in this, Sneha, Purnima,
No, sir.
Uma?
No, sir.
Any doubt, freely you can ask her, nothing to worry. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Now, come to the next concept, VBT. By it is okay what I am writing here?
Yes, sir.
Right. Any doubts other, tell by, no problem. You are always welcome for clearing your doubts. You can call me also, no problem. Right. Now, come to this VBT theory. VBT theory, how we are explaining by using coordination, how we are explaining the hybridization of coordination compounds by using magnetic data. What is that? Magnetic data. We are going to predict the geometry of the given coordination entities. We are going to calculate, or we are going to estimate the hybridization and the shape of the given coordination entities. For that, I am going to take one formula. Mu is equal to root of n into n plus 2, where n is equal to number of unpaired electrons. The number of unpaired electrons, we can say. Right. Now, here this already we have seen yesterday, but this sentence is there in the CBSE book. But if you refer standard books, by using this magnetic behavior only, we are predicting the geometry of the geometry as well as hybridization of a given coordination entities. And one thing clearly I'm going to tell here, even we are taking ligands here, indirectly we are depending on the strength of the ligands, but we are not telling we are depending on the ligands. For our understanding purpose only, we are considering the strength of the ligands. Okay, clear what I'm speaking? Right. That you are going to understand by taking some examples. That I am going to take first CO NH3 taken 6 3 plus 3 plus. It means what? Here CO will be there in plus 3 state. CO will be there in the plus the state. CO atomic number is how much? 27. Idea is there, cobalt atomic number 27. That configuration I'll be writing 4s2 3d7. CO3 plus means what we can write? 4s0 3d6 I can write. C4s0 3d6. Generally, when this 3d6 means we can write like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'll be
ಅಪಘಾತದಲ್ಲಿ ನಟಿ ನೆಬಿನಾ ಮೈಕಲ್ ಸಾವನ್ನಪ್ಪಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರ ಜೊತೆ ಇದ್ದ ಇಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಗಂಭೀರ ಗಾಯ, ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ಗೆ ಅಡ್ಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಾಗಿದೆ.
wait, I'll put them in mute. Stopped. Right here 4s0 3d6. Then after this what is there? We can take 4s and we can take a 4p like this. We can take a 4p like this. But under the influence of ligand, or we can consider by using magnetic data, these electrons which are there in this 3d6, it gets paired. It gets paired like this. For that I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then how many d orbitals are available? 2d orbitals from 3d, 1 s orbital from 4s, and 3p orbitals like this. Means totally how many empty orbitals are there? 6 empty orbitals are there. These 6 empty orbitals are going to accept 6 pairs of electrons from 6 ligands. Means this I am going to fill up with this cross mark. Here I am putting cross marks like this. I am putting cross marks like this only. This is from where all 6 ammonia ligands. What is this? D2 sp3 hybridization. D2 sp3 hybridization. Then what type of complex is this? Octahedral complexes. D2 sp3, and we can call this as octahedral complexes. Octahedral complexes means maybe here there is no the magnetic data. What we can say here? N is equal to 0 only. N is equal to 0 only, because all these are get paid. Then what type of complex is this? A diamagnetic complex. When it is paid, it is diamagnetic complex. Because of coordination number 6, it is octahedral complexes. The inner d orbitals are involved in hybridization. If you take 4 and 3, this 3 will be the inner d orbital. If you take 4d, that is outer d orbital. Here we are taking inner d orbitals. That is why it is considered as inner orbital complexes. Inner orbital complexes. Then diamagnetic, all electrons are paired. That is why we can call it as low spin complexes or spin paired complexes. Low spin complexes are spin paired complexes. Why we call this as low spin or spin paired? This plus half and minus half get cancelled. Plus half and minus half get cancelled. That is the reason it is considered as low spin complexes or spin paired complexes, because all electrons are paired. That is why it is a diamagnetic complexes. Diamagnetic complexes. Is it clear what I'm talking? Understandable to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now,
Can you repeat, sir? Inner orbital complexes.
yes, inner orbital complexes means here this hybridization is starting from 3D. 3D is the inner shell, followed by 4s and 4p. Followed by 4s and 4p. Means here 3D, 4s and 4p. Here the hybridization is happening through 3D followed by 4s and 4p. Inner d orbitals are used for D2 sp3 hybridization. That is why it is considered as inner orbital complexes. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Right, because here we said low spin also, positive spin, negative spin get cancelled, that is why it is low spin or spin paid. Because of paid electrons it is diamagnetic. Here D2sp3 is octahedral complexes. Now come to the another example, that is CO F6 3 minus. Here also it is plus 3 only, here also it is plus 3 only. Now I'll be writing like this, that 6 electrons I'll be writing 1 2 3 4 5 6. Here how many unpaired electrons are there? 4, that is root of
4.
4 into 4 plus 2 is the magnetic data, that is mu is equal to that. Now after 3D what we can see? 4s, then 4p, then 4D we can take. What we can take? 4D we can take. 4S, 4P, 4D we can take. Right. Now, this 4S, 4P, 4D. Even though here it is coordination number 6, there is no pairing. But previous example which I took, in that I am going to consider CONH3, take N6 3 plus, but I paired. I consider this as strong ligand, but I consider the case this as weak ligand. Generally, halogens will be weak ligands only. The halogens will be weak ligands only. That is why not pairing. Then, how many ligands are there? 6. I am going to take 1s, 3p, and 2d for the contribution of electrons. That is, I am going to consider. See, don't worry about the remaining empty d orbitals. Forget about this 1s, 3p, and 2d. That is, I can take sp3d2 hybridization. This also an octahedral complexes. But here, outer d orbitals are involved in hybridization. That is the reason it is considered as outer orbital complexes. Outer orbital complexes we can call. Outer orbital complexes, because outer d orbitals are involved. It means from this we can say that whether it is D2sp3 or sp3d2, in both the cases we can see octahedral geometry. We can see octahedral geometry we can expect. Now here unpaired electrons will be there, no? More unpaired electrons will be there. It is going to cause high spin. Then you can consider this as high spin complexes. When high spin complexes are there, due to the presence of unpaired electrons, it is paramagnetic in nature. Paramagnetic in nature. Understood this? Any doubts are there regarding this? Please let me know.
Wait, sir.
Right. Now, come to the other complexes like NiCN4 2 minus, NiCN4 2 minus. This NiCN4 2 minus, what is the oxidation state of Ni2 plus? Correct? This Ni oxidation number we can write like 4s2 3d8. Ni2 plus means we can write only 3d8. This 3d8 I am going to write like this. Generally we'll be writing like this, then yes, then p we can take, then p we can take. 8 means what we can take? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Right, but here under the influence of ligand, this is 4s and 4p. Whatever the unpaired electrons are there, it gets paired. It means this 3d8 I'll be writing like 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. This one also I am putting in this. That is why I am going to erase here, and I'll be completing this.
Has strong electrons against.
Okay, it means what I can take here? I can consider 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1D, 1S, 2P I am going to consider. 2P I am going to consider. What is the hybridization? DsP2 hybridization. Because how many ligands are there? 4 ligands are there. These 4 ligands are going to occupy this particular one, where we can see the electrons like this. Where we can see the electrons like this. When DsP2 hybridization, what is the complex? Square planar complexes. That we can write Ni, Cn, 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 then 2 minus we can take. 2 minus we can take. Now, if I take NiCl for 2 minus, what hybridization we can take? NiCl for 2 minus. Here we can see the tetrahedral geometry. Here also it is plus 2 only, correct? Now, the 3D8 I'll be writing like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. After 3D, what is there? 4s will be there. After 4s, the 4p will be there. 4p will be there. Here, how many ligands are there? This 4 will be going to take up sp3 hybridization. sp3 hybridization. General hint I am telling, when halides are there, that is weak ligands, where we can see unpaired electrons, which is paramagnetic. Which is paramagnetic. sp3 means tetrahedral. Tetrahedral, how we can draw? We can draw like chlorine, 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 chlorine. 2 minus we can take. 2 minus we can take. Okay. Any doubts are there regarding this? Any doubts are there regarding this? Not there?
No, sir.
Right. Tell, Ra. Who is that? Gautamiya? Who is that, Ra? Somebody is having doubt. Who is that? What doubt? Tell me.
Papa.
Who is that?
Sir, please, once more you can explain.
Which one? This
Now,
one
just
only,
now
yeah?
explain. Yes, sir.
See, this Ni2 plus will be there. Who is this? Akshatava?
Yes, sir.
Right. Here Ni2 plus is there, Ra. Ni2 plus means what is the configuration, Ra? 4s0 3d8,
Sir.
that 3d8 I took like this, Ra. Because here chlorine is the weak ligand. That is why
sir.
I am not allowing this electron to come and accommodate here. I left like that only. Then how many ligands are there? 4 ligands.
4.
How many electrons you can contribute? 8 electrons. That is the reason I am going to take after 3D, 4s will come followed by 4p. 1s, 3p. All will be contributing electrons. Chlorine will be contributing electrons to 4s and 4p. Means how many s electron, how many s orbitals? 1 s orbital. How many p orbitals? 1, 2, 3. 3 sp3 hybridization. When sp3 hybridization, the complex is tetrahedral. The tetrahedral structure will be like this. Due to the presence of unpaired electrons, it is paramagnetic. But here we are not going to speak inner or outer, because there is no question of speaking inner or outer here. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now come to the next theory. What is that next theory?
Crystal field theory.
Very good. Crystal field theory, CFT. What is the CFT? The CFT model, generally the bond between metal and ligand will be what, Ra? Coordinate covalent bond, no? Coordinate covalent bond. But according to crystal field theory, the bond between metal and ligand will be electrostatic model. Anyhow, with this I'm going to complete. Don't I'm not going to waste your time also. Electrostatic model, or we can consider ionic bonding. Both are one and the same. But according to according to coordination, it is correct? No. But according to CFT, they are considering electrostatic model or ionic bonding. Means the bonding between metal and ligand will be purely electrostatic forces of attraction. Suppose if the ligand is a neutral molecule like water, neutral molecule like water, then we can call this as dipoles. That water molecule we can call it as dipoles. Suppose if it is negative ions, suppose if it is negative ions, that time we call it as point charges. What we call ra? Point charges. In case of negative ions, it is point charges. Here I am writing x minus nothing but F minus Cl minus Br minus I minus, like this. Dipoles means water is going to show dipole moment. Idea is there, no? That is why it is considered as partial negative and a partial positive, like this. Okay, understood this? Right. But here we can see that there is a splitting of d orbitals. When we can see the splitting actually? When we can see the splitting? When can we expect the splitting of d orbitals? The splitting of d orbitals, we can expect how many d orbitals are there? 5 d orbitals. That is dxy, dyz, dzx, dx square minus y square, and dz square. Now,
DZ square.
these are all present in the metal atom or metal ion. Metal atom or metal ion. Then, even in this metal atom or metal ion, if you see the shapes of this dxy, dyz, and dzx, and dx square minus y square, this one we can take xy. If you take xy like this, it is xy. Dyz also we can take yz like this. And dzx also you can take zx. All these are like this only, na? Then the remaining two, that is dx square minus y square, this will be like this, dx square minus y square. The other one will be the dz square we can take. The other one will be dz square we can take. Here I have one doubt actually. Here I'm writing these orbitals like this along the axis, means the electron density is there along the axis. Is it clear? And I'm drawing diagram like this, means the electron density is there in between the axis. In between the axis. Suppose this ligand will be approaching like this. Ligand is nothing but electrons. Sarah, ligand is nothing but the electrons. Even this direction of this metal d orbitals also what ra? Electrons only ra. Electrons means what? Same charge which is going to cause repulsions. If it is even here ligands approaches, what happens? In this case, it is going to show less repulsions, and in this case, it is going to show more repulsions.
More repulsion.
Less repulsions means more stable, more repulsions means less stable.
Less stable.
That is the reason the splitting of d orbitals are going to happen, or the degeneracy of d orbitals are going to violate when the ligand is approaching towards the central metal atom or central metal ion. Is it clear what I'm speaking? Purnima?
Yes, sir.
Right. Means when ligand is approaching toward the central metal atom or central metal ion, there will be a splitting of d orbitals. Generally, all d orbitals are degenerate orbitals. The degeneracy of d orbitals can be violated only under the influence of ligands. Means the ligand strength we are going to consider in the case of crystal field theory. Clear? Means we can see the splitting of d orbitals into two sets in octahedral complexes, that is dxy, dyz, dzx, dx square minus y square, and dz square we can take. We can take like this. this will move to the excited state. All these 5 d orbitals are moved to the excited state. Then we can see the splitting of d orbitals like this. One is T2g orbital, the other one is EG orbital. In 2g I can write dxy, dyz and dzx. In EG we can write dx square minus y square and dz square. Those are there in the ground level, it is more stable because which is going to cause less repulsions. Here it is more repulsions, that is less stable. More repulsions means we can see less stability. Less stable we can call. We can call this as less stable we can call. Out of 3, how many will be there a balance? Here the difference I can write like 0.4 delta naught. What is this? 0.4 delta naught, and here it is 0.6 delta naught. This concept is clear to everyone what I'm talking here. How many orbitals over? 3 over. The balance is 2. That is, we can write 2 by 5. This 2 by 5 only 0.4. And this is 3 by 5 delta naught. What is this delta naught? What is this delta naught? This delta
Octahedral
naught, crystal field stabilization and energy. What is this? Crystal field stabilization energy. In T2g, how many orbitals are there here? T2g, how many orbitals are there?
3 orbitals.
3 orbitals, which can accommodate how many electrons? 6 electrons.
electrons.
Right. Now, but according to Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity, if you consider 3 orbitals like this, one electron will occupied by orbital. 4th electron, where it will go now? 4th electron, where it will go? Whether it will go to EG orbital or it will come to T2g, that depends on delta naught or delta O, and the other one is pairing energy. What is that? The other one is pairing energy, right? Now this pairing energy we can call the delta naught less than P. If pairing energy is greater, if pairing energy is greater, the 4th electron enters into EG level. EG level. Suppose if you take D4 configuration, this we can write T2G3 and EG1. Okay. If delta naught is greater than P, when crystal field stabilization is more, that time only we can expect the pairing of electrons. That time we can write the D4 configuration as T2G4 EG0, like this we can take. EG0 like this we can take. Is it clear by what I'm speaking? By Syed?
Yes, sir.
Right. Very good. Now, here we can consider like a calculation. How to calculate for octahedral complexes? For this, I am giving one formula. For octahedral complexes, CFSC is equal to minus 0.4 into NT2G, means the number of electrons in T2G level, plus 0.6 into EG, NEG, total multiplied with delta naught, plus pairing energy. If it is there, use this pairing energy. Not there, why avoid this? Then this is for what? Octahedral complexes. Now, if you take tetrahedral complexes, what we can explain? For tetrahedral complexes, we can take one more explanation. That is, the splitting will be like the dx square minus y square and dz square in the lower level, dxy, dyz and dzx in the higher level. Here this will be E and this one will be T2. Here I am not using GG. Here just we are using E and T2 here. For this we can write like minus 6.0.6 into Ne, that is number of electrons in the E level, plus 0.4 into Nt2 plus pairing energy. This you completely, this you multiply with delta T plus pairing energy. Pairing energy. This particular one is very important. Okay. Generally, for complexes showing D4 to D7, it is strong field ligands only. It is strong field ligands only for octahedral complexes. Octahedral complexes. But the main use of this crystal field theory is what? To know the color of the coordination compounds, we are going to use this particular theory, right? Still more explanation is there. Next.